This is Minutia Men with Rick and Dave.
School just started.
Right.
A couple, weeks ago. And Erin now has a driver's license.
Your youngest daughter?
No, she's the middle child.
Oh, is she?
Right,
They're twins.
Right, right. Julia is the youngest child.
Okay.
And it's really weird. The 11 seconds, she's definitely the middle child. Erin's definitely the middle child, and Julia's
funny.
So we let her drive to school.
Sure.
Which
I never did for any of my kids.
You did not let them drive to school?
Never.
Why?
Because we could walk to school.
Okay. Well, this is the 12th day, I think.
Yeah?
She's not driving anymore.
Oh, why?
Because she totaled the minivan already.
Whoa.
On day 7 of her driving.
Is she okay?
Yeah. Everything's fine. She hit a parked car, or like what she says is the parked car hit her.
So what I know about parked cars.
But so I get a call from her, and she is just crying. I mean, just absolutely.
Yeah.
Erin, I don't know if your kids are like this, but when they're like,
let's just say I've gotten this call before.
Well, and they can't talk.
Yeah.
Like Dad, come home.
Yeah.
Whatever. Blah blah blah. I'm like, so what happened? What happened? I'm going to jail. That's what she's like. Well, I'm like, what do you mean you're going to jail? She could come home right now. I'm like, well, she's obviously not in jail. So,
right. Yeah.
So she hit a car, but she didn't stop, and she went home. She didn't.
Okay.
Yeah. She didn't know.
Hit and run.
She was a hit and run. So I'm like, well, you can't do that. So we drove back to school, and I'm like, we have to leave a note on the car. Secretly inside, I'm like, hope it's not there. Hope it's not there. Hope it's not there. But it was. And
there are cameras everywhere.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Right. So we wrote a note, and while I'm writing the note, guess what Erin says to me?
What?
Can you say you did it?
Oh, nice.
She wanted me to take the rap for her, which we didn't. So, but
I've gotten calls like that many times. But I'll tell you my favorite one real quick before we get to the show. Mm-hmm. Tommy was taking.
Well,
Sean.
Tommy totaled 3 cars, right?
I know. Maybe he might have. Yeah. But this first time was with the minivan.
Yeah.
And he was taking his youngest brother, Sean, to baseball practice. Yeah. And apparently, he ran a stop sign. Yeah. And when I say ran a stop sign, I don't mean he didn't stop at a stop sign. I mean he ran through a stop sign.
You mean the actual physical stop sign?
Knocked it over. Right? Knocked it over. By the way, cost of a stop sign, $640.
Oh, I guess you do have to pay.
I know that now. But here's
I could have gotten it for you for $520. Don't pay their wholesale price. Don't pay their retail prices.
But here's the funny part. Sean, the passenger, called the cops.
Oh.
Called the cops and said, hey, we just knocked over this sign. My brother, we're leaving the scene of the crime right now
because I got to go to baseball practice.
Dropped me off at baseball practice, but he'll be back.
Well,
so he came back and he got his ticket, and they sent us to court. Yeah. We went to court in Rolling Meadows here, and I went with him. And I was worried. I didn't know what kind of a fine he was going to have to pay. And the judge said, all right, who reported this incident? And the cop goes, well, he did, Your Honor. The guy reported it. He goes, wait a minute. He reported it himself? Yeah. Why are we here? Case dismissed.
Good for you. That's right. Because 99 out of 100 people are going to... Well, and that's what I was...
Honesty is the best policy.
Well, and what I was thinking was like, I'm not going to say I didn't entertain the thought of not going back and leaving a note. And again, like I said, I was hoping, God, don't be there. But I'm like, you can't do that.
No, right? You can't. Yeah, but you know what you can do? You can do Minutia Men. And that's what we're going to do right now.
The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie production on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Minutia Men with Rick and Dave.
You know how you mentioned about how you ran through a stop sign?
Yeah.
So I was driving with Julia. I maybe even told this story a couple of weeks ago. I'm teaching her to drive, although I can't do it, and Michelle has to do it because I just am not I am not cut out to teaching kids how to drive. Uh-huh.
And Julia, I'm not either, by the way.
And Julia blows a stop sign, and I go, Julia, you just blew that stop sign. And she looks at it and goes, eh.
Yeah.
So well, she ain't driving the minivan anymore because that is our IP.
It doesn't exist.
All right, we got a big show, so we better get going. Rick, I don't understand how stereotypes develop. Okay.
Yeah. It's a mystery.
And this story comes out from our own backyard. Gunshot victim at a White Sox game reportedly snuck a weapon in by hiding it in her fat folds.
This could be my favorite story ever.
2 women were wounded by again, stereotypes. I don't know why us Sox fans are the broad brushes are. 2 women were wounded by gunfire during Friday night's Oakland Athletics Chicago White Sox game. At Guaranteed Rate.
What was the attendance then?
Those were the 2 people that were in attendance. That's why they got caught. Because
the Oakland A's are even worse than the White Sox.
Well, they won like 12-0 or something. The incident in the left field bleachers did not stop the game because, let's get the, whatever. But it made for some bizarre and confusing story over the weekend about how somebody got a gun into the ballpark.
Right.
Well, ESPN's Peggy Kaczynski, a friend of yours, right?
I know
she's
her.
at a baseball pool or the fantasy pool.
She was, yeah.
ESPN Chicago's Peggy Kaczynski provided the next chapter of the tale with a tweet indicating that one of the injured women had snuck the gun into the stadium by holding it in the folds of her belly fat. Okay. This is great news for us, for me and you.
Right? Yeah, well, right. Yeah.
I didn't know this, but evidently metal detectors are foiled by ample girth. We
don't have enough folds, though. I'm like...
I got one.
Right. It's a belly. Don't get me wrong. But there are no folds. It's like a solid belly.
Yeah, but there's the fold underneath the belly.
Oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
But it's not. You're right.
But I can't fit a gun in it.
Well,
if you know what I mean. Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is, you got to have goals.
Well, okay, yeah, I can work towards it.
So I remember in college.
But this is a visual.
Yes,
this is a visual of the. I'm just picturing like a little miner helmet, trying to find the gun, lifting the folds up,
right,
like searching
with the gloves, with the surgical gloves, right. Well, this reminds me of in college. Well, every story reminds me of college.
That's true.
Do you remember my long green Army coat?
Of course. I still have every day.
I still have it to the chagrin of Michelle. But I used to sneak in whole fifths of vodka.
Wait, what?
Into football games.
That is terrible.
There were no metal detectors back there, right?
No, does a bottle have metal?
No, but you would think. I mean, no one checked.
That's true.
So the terrorists have ruined the fun for everybody.
They have. They have.
So to the woman who, snuck. That's ingenuity.
Yes.
Right. That's innovation. Good job.
So I have a story for you. This was on Slate.com this week. They did a feature about training videos for fast food joints. And they went through some of the classic old training videos. And some of them are entertaining and interesting, but there's one that is gold.
The Cecil B. DeMille of...
This is the greatest training film ever. And it stars our friend Jenkins. Jenkins is basically... It doesn't say Jenkins,
but it does, but it's
say Jenkins. Yeah. And this goes back to 1985. You can't see the video, but you don't need to.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to play it for you, everybody. This is called Jack in the Box Training. Welcome to a winning team.
Oh my God, that music right there.
We have to keep this door locked. It's our best hope of security.
But security alone isn't enough. For there are other deadly dangers already at work inside the store.
Careful, Ted. The floor's awful slippery.
Hey, I'm as sure-footed as John Travolta.
Well, I think flatter heels would be a lot safer around here.
Hey, it's style that counts to me.
Well, at least you better walk flat-footed till the floor dries.
You worry too much.
You'll cringe in horror at the workings of the insidious tomato slicer.
Here, Ted, you better use this safety top. This thing can really hurt your fingers.
Don't worry, Tina. My way's easier. Quicker, too.
But the deadly dangers have only just begun. and they lurk in the most unexpected places.
Ted, wait. You may not know it, but you're flirting with a deadly danger.
But me?
Let me show you how to lift this without injuring your back. For safety's sake, use the strength of your legs, not your back.
Safety's for suckers. There's nothing wrong with my back. There's something wrong with my back.
That's like a parody.
It is. Ted is a moron. He's a moron.
Ted Jenkins. So for all the universities that I teach at, they all have diversity training that we have to go, and they're online. Have you ever had to do one of these? So it's these training videos about what you can and cannot say. The woke mob.
Yeah,
right?
I've never worked for a legitimate company.
So some of these are so ridiculous, and it's like this. It's their videos like, what did Bill do wrong? And it'd be like,
is it okay if he grabs her breast? No, it is not okay. Do not grab her breast.
But it'd be like, hey, I love your nappy hair.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Oh my God.
Well, or you speak really good for
yeah.
I mean,
wow.
Okay, hey, we got a review from PlayPlay66G.
Okay.
Rates and it actually was this past Sunday.
Okay.
The only good thing my brother ever did was hook me up to this show.
Oh,
that's nice.
Yeah.
Or hook me on to the show, I should say.
Okay.
So thanks, PlayPlay.
And thanks, PlayPlay's brother.
Yes.
Who's probably cooler than PlayPlay,
yeah,
right?
Evidently.
So we have a special segment that we do every week, and we call it Studio Walls.
Time now for Studio Walls.
And the words of the prophets were written on the studio walls. Begin, please.
So, Dave, I go through our archives every week, and I find something that is applicable to the good people out there. And this week, September 8th, 1908.
Okay.
Lane Tech High School opened its doors for the very first time.
Wow.
1908, good year. 1908, Cubs won the World Series.
And, wow.
Lane Tech
Just down
opens
the
their
street,
doors.
too.
Well, it wasn't at that time, but I don't want to get too technical on you. But anyway, one of the reasons that we speak about Lane Tech all the time on this show is not just because Dave went there and his daughter went there, but because nude swimming.
Naked swimming, baby.
Nude swimming. Yeah. And we once talked to Roger Bennett, who's with the Men in Blazers, who wrote a best-selling book, who is a very funny man, and he had a similar experience back in Liverpool, and it's all part of this discussion, so let me present it for you now. This is Roger Bennett on Minutia Men Celebrity Interview. Because I read the whole thing in 3 days, and I absolutely loved it, but before we do, I want to introduce you to your American doppelganger, David Stern, who's sitting across from you here. Tell me if any of this rings a bell with you, Roger. Dave is a follically challenged man, so much so that he wrote a book called The Balding Handbook, The 5 Stages of Grieving for Your Hair Loss.
That did not debut number 1 on the New York Times bestseller list.
He judges athletes, musicians, and movie stars based on one criterion: their lack of hair.
Bruce Willis, his career's just getting better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. His parents immigrated here from Europe to escape persecution. He found a home in the Jewish community here in Chicago. He loves the Chicago Bears and the Chicago White Sox. And when he was in high school, his teacher made the entire class swim in the nude.
Yeah. So we're my
God! Oh my God!
Me and you are your brothers from another mother, baby.
Where was that? No, Dave, you grew up the life. I longed to swim in the nude and be tortured by my teachers in Chicago instead of in Liverpool. Where did you grow up in Chicago?
I was a North Side guy. Went to Lane Tech, and when my freshman year in 1977. For whatever reason, we had to swim naked, and and not only did we swim naked, we had to wear a swim cap. And I don't know if
makes no sense.
I don't know if you're aware of how men develop.
Yeah.
We had hair. We weren't manscaping, but definitely, there was no reason to do this.
Hey, Roger, when I got your book, I read this paragraph to Dave on the phone. Mr. Stott's official duty was to check for clean legs on every boy exiting the shower area. He augmented this task with the additional self-appointed role of color commentator, providing play-by-play on the physical status of all the boys who passed, as if announcing their arrival at a society ball. I mean, that is the most terrifying thing I've ever read.
Yeah, you said you'd hear him give this commentary as if he was at the Marv Albert of shower duty. He'd be like, "Kate, goat cock, excellent work, boy." And whenever I walked past, he'd shout up, "Hitler's deformed micro penis." It's just life goals.
There he is.
God, what a great guy.
Can you imagine that? That's even worse. That's even worse. All right, what else you got?
Well, what about this bonus song from The Week in History?
Yeah, right. I always promise that, don't I?
Right.
All right, so I do have another. You want a song?
Sure.
So let's go back to 1960.
Okay.
1960. This week in 1960, a film debuted that still has people.
All right. Well, don't tell me. 1960. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a hint. What is it?
It's a Hitchcock film.
Psycho.
Yes, that's right. Okay. It turns out that there had never been a musical of Psycho.
Yeah.
So
really, how'd that happen?
I took it upon myself to write one.
Okay, good for you.
And Vince Argento performs it for us. This is something that aired on the John Landecker show. It's called Psycho on Ice.
I am Norman Bates, the one that mother hates. I never have dates, so I ice skate. Norman, get down here! I'm down in the cellar! A girl in the motel, I better not tell her. I am scrubbing, I am rinsing, the water has power.
How'd you guys get canceled?
So much better when I'm through with the shower. After this triple axel, I'll open the curtain with my usual greeting, and blood will be spurting. A double X and a flip as I wash away strife. Stay away with that knife!
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I smell Tony right over here. I smell a Tony. All right.
Oh gosh, we were weird guys. What can I say?
You were there for 10 years, right?
10 years, yeah.
So you probably did something like wacky like this, what, every day?
Every day.
So
every single day.
So 10 years.
For 10 years.
So 200 shows. So 2,000. So you've got like 6,000.
Something like that, yeah. It's a pretty limitless supply.
All right. Well, hey, I have another Chicago story, very Chicago-centric today. And I just don't understand why people are scared to come here.
You're right. I don't either.
Chicago TV news crew robbed at gunpoint while reporting on a string of robberies.
Unbelievable.
A television news crew reporting on a string of robberies ended up getting robbed themselves after they were accosted at gunpoint by 3 armed men wearing ski masks.
It turns out it's true. Back to you.
Spanish language station Univision said a reporter and a photographer were filming just before 5 o'clock a.m. Well, what are you doing? It's 5 in the morning.
Yeah,
come on. It's in Chicago's West Town neighborhood when 3 masked men brandishing firearms robbed them.
Is this the same neighborhood that you reported last week had a deal that nobody could be shot between 9 a.m. and
I think that was
9 p.m.?
That was Rogers Park, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, totally different. So basically they got, they're setting up to do the story and they get robbed. They got robbed of their camera and a couple of personal items.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm calling bullshit. I think these guys just were late to work.
Yeah.
And they're just making up a story. It's like, we couldn't make it. In fact, this reminds me another of a college story about making up stories to get out of work.
Yeah.
Tell your vestibulitis story.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I'll tell the story. So, what were you, junior in college, senior in college?
Doesn't sound familiar.
You had an earache? Was that what it was?
Inner ear imbalance.
Inner ear imbalance.
Yeah.
And you went to the doctor and they said, well...
I went to the emergency room.
Well, I took you to the emergency room. And they said, well, we don't really know what it is, but it could be vestibulitis. Right?
Yes.
And your next story or your next question was, how long does vestibulitis last? Last up to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Can you write that in a note for me? And then you didn't go to class for a month.
That doesn't sound familiar, but I'll trust you.
So I found a video, actually. This is, interestingly, news crews getting involved in crime, at the moment that it happens, isn't all that
unusual.
Atypical. Right.
Yeah.
So I sent you a video here.
I have it.
Okay.
Just play it?
Yeah, just play it.
All right, here we go.
Again.
Just 24 hours ago, this bank in North... That guy right there. What?
That's the robber.
Oh, that's the robber. This is live TV, folks. That's the robber. Just went by, according to the bank employee. So I got to go here and call 911. I'll talk to you later.
Adam didn't realize that the
Just like
same
Sean.
suspect police had been looking for was reportedly robbing the Rochester, Minnesota bank again during his broadcast. An hour after calling 911, police found the suspect and brought him into custody.
It took an hour, huh?
Yeah, it took it. Yeah, right. So
That's
there you
funny.
go. No, it's
I like that.
And if you go on YouTube and just Google, news crews getting robbed,
it's an Inside Edition video. Watch the bank robber interrupt this news reporter during live broadcast. That's how
but
it's
there's
labeled.
a ton of them. I mean,
Oh, really?
You could go down a rabbit hole of this crew got robbed on the air. And,
Okay. Well, I've got a story for you. This is this goes back to the 1930s, Dave, and
not a great time.
Well,
30s and 40s.
It was, I guess there was a whole Great Depression going on. But this is the lighter side of the Great Depression. This is about...
the lighter side. I think Mad Magazine did that, didn't they?
This is a story about the slang from the 1930s.
I'm hip to that.
And I'm going to do it as a quiz, but I'm not going to do the whole multiple choice.
Okay.
This is just a true-false quiz.
Oh,
all right.
I can nail those.
Now, it's 90 years ago. Some of this slang hasn't really stuck around.
Okay, all right.
So you're going to have to guess.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to give you a true or false statement, and you tell me which it is.
Okay.
All right, here we go. In 1930s slang, dog's soup referred to accidentally wetting your pants. True or false?
Hey, that's a dog suit. I say false.
It is false. That's asking for a glass of water at a restaurant. Give me the dog soup.
Gee, I don't know why that didn't catch
exactly. How did that not catch on? All right. In 1930 slang, getting Kaylee'd up meant extremely drunk.
Kaylee. Is that an Irish thing, perhaps? What was the culture in the 30s? Immigrant problem.
Yeah,
I'm going to say
that's racist.
I'm going to say true.
It is true. Yeah. All right. 1930 slang. A Chicago overcoat.
Yeah,
was a blanket.
No, it was like I think it was something to do with murder, like mob murder, isn't it?
No.
What?
It's not even close to that. It was a coffin.
So
slang for a coffin.
Okay, yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Murder.
It says here, traveling in Windy City may require an overcoat, but that's not what this is referring to. Despite the major decline in Chicago homicide rates between 1930 and 1940, which, by the way, have come back up.
Yeah. From our stories this week.
We've obviously covered that. Yes, a Chicago overcoat was a coffin.
Right, and and what was going on in the 30s? Al Capone. So that I was kind of right.
You were kind of right. In 1930 slang, if you were flossing with a woman, you were French kissing her.
Flossing. Well, teeth, tongue.
Here, baby, let's floss.
Yeah, I'd say that's true.
It is not true.
Oh.
Flossing is showing off your possessions to a woman.
Oh.
It's kind of like...
hey, look at my minivan.
This is my Lamborghini. Oh, yeah, look at my total minivan. If you know what I'm saying. Yes, that's 1930 slang. So if you ever get into a time machine, and you get stuck in the 1930s, we've just done a valuable service for you right there.
Yeah, don't be saying, "Oh, I'll take that Chicago overcoat."
Hey, it's time. It's time for another feature.
A random name pulled out of Rick's bowl of brushes with celebrities. Mixture, collection, selection, assemblage, medley, assortment, variety. Time now for Celebrity Potpourri with Rick and Dave.
So this is the part of the show where we share our emails that people send
Well,
to
we don't
us.
share our emails. They share it with us.
Yeah, people share their emails with us, correct. And actually, I'm running a little low on these celebrity emails.
So let's start cooking, people.
So I want, you can go check out the Minutia Men. You email us at minutiamenpodcast@gmail. You can email me, rick@eckhartspress.com.
We're accessible by Facebook.
Twitter, Instagram. You can get us. We're everywhere. So please send them in. We're looking for your brushes with celebrity. And this week's brush with celebrity is not a funny story, but it is an interesting story because the celebrity is such an unusual one. Ready? This is from Nikki. I'm a proud graduate of the University of Arizona, class of 2010.
Wow, they're young.
Yeah.
Wow, they're listening to this show.
Right. I think I have kids that are about that age.
God bless you, Nikki.
I was in a sorority at that school. My sorority was Delta Zeta. The only celebrity I've ever met in my entire life came to Tucson, which is where the University of Arizona is, to accept an award my senior year as the Delta Zeta Woman of the Year.
Good job, Nikki.
No, she didn't get it.
Oh.
The celebrity did.
Oh. Okay.
So you have to guess who the celebrity is.
1990.
Yeah.
2010. Or 2010.
Yeah.
Arizona. I would.
Yeah,
so
you have no chance of getting this. There's no chance.
It's a woman, right?
It is. Delta Zeta Woman of the Year. I don't know how many people can say they were from the same sorority as Mrs. Edna Krabappel from The Simpsons. That's right, Marsha Wallace, who you might also remember from the Bob Newhart show. She played Bob's long-suffering secretary, Carol.
Oh!
But she was the voice of Mrs. Krabappel in The Simpsons.
I love Carol from the Bob Newhart show.
Yeah, I don't have a funny story about her. Just that she was a lovely woman who was already diagnosed with cancer, which claimed her life just 3 years later. And she autographed my program book that night. She was very nice.
That's a great. Well, did I ever tell you in Champaign? This is my brush. We were, for whatever reason, I have no idea. Marion Ross was at a restaurant.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I met her. Yeah, we had her on Landecker show.
I wonder why
sweet lady.
She must have been on a play or something.
She has some connection to Chicago. I think she's either from. I think she might be from Chicago.
She's right there. And it was Mrs. Cunningham was
cool
sitting at the Courier Cafe in Champaign.
All right, so send in your notes to us. We have another show too.
Yeah, it's Minutia Men Celebrity Interview, right? Where we actually have a couple coming up. Scott May is going to be. We just interviewed Scott May a few minutes ago.
Yeah,
actually,
we did,
and he's a noted Chicago musician. Ides of March. He has a new album out. He is.
He's got some great stories.
Great stories about everybody.
Yeah, he worked with Mort Downey Jr.
Mort Downey. He was his co-host
with Kevin Matthews, a personality here in Chicago.
And pretty much every famous organist.
There's a story about Danny Bonaducci that is going to be difficult to forget. And there's lots of other stuff in there. So check it out.
And we also have the Sultan of Slow Jamistan coming up.
Lance Lopez. Lance Lopez is on there right now if you check it out. Lance is a great blues guitarist. I just listened to the interview yesterday. Actually, it's a fun interview.
Oh, and he's an amazing guitarist.
If you have to go on, check him out.
He's Jimi Hendrix. He's Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimmy. I mean, he's that good.
He basically is. So we have people to thank for this show. Tony Lasano with Opie Shows. Opie is hippo backwards. OPPIH shows.com. He's the executive producer of the show. We're distributed by Ed Silla of Radio Misfits. Great Talk Radio isn't dead. It just moved to a better place. RadioMisfits.com. And we'll be back again next week, Dave, because we like to do a show called
Minutia Men.
The preceding was a presentation of Opie Productions. Find our other great shows wherever you find podcasts, including opishows.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?